Saiyans and Viltrumites, Invincible and Dragon Ball. There are a lot of similarities between the two. Both are militaristic warrior races with their own unique sets of abilities, but what would happen if they produced an offspring? How powerful would they be? One of the most interesting facts about both of these races are their biology, and I would say that's the whole reason I'm making this video. This is a concept that I thought was very interesting to think about, to see, would they be stronger, would they be weaker, what would be their potential, would it be a negative for either one, would their weaknesses outweigh the cons, and this is something I just thought was extremely interesting, so I wanted to talk about it with you guys because, you know, that's kind of what I do now. I talk about stuff that I like with you guys. So here we go. First breakdown is going to be of the Saiyans, and the number one thing that they can do that Viltrumites can't is they can harness their ki, which is essentially it's their fighting power and life force. It's a tangible energy, derives from the user's vigor, courage, and mind. It can be used in a number of ways, such as to surpass the limits of one's own body, to greatly increase their strength, and it can be fired as blasts of energy and or used to create defensive barriers. Basically, every Saiyan is naturally gifted in ki, and I'm not sure if it's because of all the Saiyan races' great knowledge of ki and how it's used on their planet. So if a Saiyan and a Viltrumite were to fuse or have a kid together, it seems like the Saiyans would still be able to use ki and without really any limitations, as ki is just something that they can do, and I don't think it would be negatively affected by fusing or being half and half with a Viltrumite. One of the other things that they can do is go into the Great Ape Ozaru. So the Great Ape Ozaru is essentially the Saiyan's secret weapon. If they ever see a moon, they can turn into a giant monkey. Essentially, they get 10 times more powerful, and this is what they would kind of use to conquer planets. But they learned to not just wait for a full moon to attack, and they learned to create their own artificial moons. So they essentially can just transform into the Great Ape Ozaru at will, essentially. And this was kind of their secret weapon for a really long time before going Super Saiyan. But the thing about the Great Ape Ozaru is, it seems that there's only like a 50-50 chance if a half Saiyan or a hybrid Saiyan, as in like a Saiyan mixed with another species, will be born either with a tail or won't. Like Gohan was Goku's kid and he had a tail, but Goten and Trunks didn't. So it seems like that specific trait is kind of up in the air as to whether or not they'll be born with a tail. So if they're born with a tail, they can transform, and if they're not, then they can't. The final thing that they can do is go Super Saiyan. And a lot of pure Saiyans have trouble going Super Saiyan and or couldn't, with the exception being Goku, Vegeta, and their offspring. But it has been shown that half-blood Saiyans have a lot easier of a time going Super Saiyan. Example being Goten, Trunks, and Gohan. This could be due to their fathers already achieving Super Saiyan, or due to the fact that they are half human and more emotional, because just like the Viltrumites, Saiyans are known for cutting out their emotions. But my theory on why everyone besides Goku and Vegeta could do it so easily is because they had someone to tell them how to do it. Just like you will have a much easier time if you have a teacher and you're not just figuring it out on your own. We have books and schools of knowledge to help us learn, but I think that's why everyone had a lot easier of a time learning how to go Super Saiyan, because they knew how to do it already. And I know that's like that's more for the Tournament of Power Saiyans. I think it was Universe 6. Yeah, the Universe 6 Saiyans could do it so much easier because Goku and Vegeta literally taught them how to do it. And I know Goten and Trunks kind of could just do it naturally, but that is for another theory that's not appropriate for YouTube. The fourth thing about Saiyans that are so awesome is their Zenkai boost. Saiyans have the ability to get stronger when faced with near-death experiences. It is unknown if it gets diluted by fusion, but for the most part, I'm going to say whatever percentage of the Saiyan So let's say if a Saiyan is 50-50 with a human, they will get 50% of their Zenkai. That is what I'm going to go with, because there's nothing really to say otherwise. And I'm going to get to why that's important in a second. The only other Zenkai type thing that exists in Invincible is Alan the Alien. He literally gets a Zenkai boost by almost dying by the Viltrumites. He wakes up, he's immediately way stronger than he was before, and he is pretty much, if not one of the strongest characters in the series. I'm going to talk about the Invincible characters for a second and how that relates to Zenkai boosts, because the Viltrumites' blood are so pure that, and the DNA is so pure that Mark, who is the son of a pure Viltrumite and a human, is 99% Viltrumite. He's only 1% human. Now, I don't necessarily think that that would be the same for Saiyans. I don't know like why it wouldn't be, but I'm going to go ahead and give the benefit of the doubt and say that, let's say it's their 25% Saiyan and 75% Viltrumite. And I know it would be 50-50 because of how Gohan and Goten go, but if that's the case, then there's no point in making this video, because they'll just basically just be a Viltrumite that can maybe go Super Saiyan, probably not, and probably won't even be able to use the Ozaru, because one of the side effects of being half human is that you only have a 50-50 chance of inheriting the tail, as shown with with Goten and Trunks, because neither of them had tails, while Gohan did and was able to transform into the Ozaru. So there's even less likely of a chance that if they fuse with the Viltrumite, they'll even get a tail, but that's a little, I gotta talk about the Viltrumites a little more first. So the Viltrumites, as shown in Invincible in the comics, have insane regeneration as long as it's not the heart or brain. And this was shown with Nolan and Mark repeatedly getting disemboweled, and as long as their head wasn't taken off or their heart wasn't permanently damaged, they could regen and be okay, even if it takes them a second. They can fly through space for about 2 weeks at a time. Their blood is extremely pure, as I was saying earlier, with the fusion of Saiyans, and they have extremely long lifespans.
What will you have after 500 years?
So basically they can live for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And you pair this with a Zenkai boost and stuff starts to pop off, if you kind of get what I'm saying. So Omni-Man is basically shown, when he's first shown in the show, as a Superman archetype. He can fly, he's super strong, he doesn't have laser vision, and he doesn't have like any of Superman's ridiculous powers, but he's essentially the show's answer to Superman. Obviously, he's not as strong as Superman because Superman is busted in the comics, but besides that, Viltrumites also have something called reactive evolution, where Viltrumite DNA aggressively repairs itself over time for different contexts, such as reproduction with other species or, long-term survival. So this is why Viltrumites are able to breed with other species besides just humans. Like it was shown that Nolan was able to breed with the ant queen lady, and why that their son still looked like human instead of like inheriting most of the other bug traits, and that's because of the Viltrumite purity thing. So basically, if we were to be realistic about this, a Saiyan and Viltrumite like offspring would probably be mostly Viltrumite. A lot of the Saiyan benefits, such as the Zenkai and the Ozaru and even Super Saiyan, would be mostly negligible, except it would be a slightly stronger Viltrumite. They would still get Zenkais and they would still have the natural ki manipulation of the Saiyans, but they wouldn't get the insane benefits of having a tail, and turning into Ozaru, and they probably wouldn't even be able to go Super Saiyan just because of how the Viltrumite culture is and how the Saiyan culture is. And if those two warrior races breed, it'll literally just be more of the same. Like just emotion, he'll just be a really powerful, emotionless bastard. Back to the Viltrumites though, they have resistance to absolute zero and high heat. And that is because of this thing called smart atoms, which are a release of atoms which lets them survive in such extreme conditions. However, there is an upper limit to the temperatures they can withstand, and this was shown by Mark and Thrag fighting on the sun, and Thrag basically dying and Mark burning pretty much to a crisp, but not quite. The biggest weakness shown throughout the show is high intensity sound waves. It can disrupt their inner ears, and they have a highly sensitive equilibrium. Their ability to fly would get completely disrupted, and essentially if they're subjected to enough high intensity sound waves, they could actually die. The biggest thing that the Viltrumites have going for them is the smart atoms, because it also lets them react to things at the speed that they're moving. So let's say they're flying, let's say speed of light. Because of how the smart atoms work, their reaction time would increase to the speed of light. It adjusts to how fast they're moving, which is actually insane. So how strong would a Saiyan and Viltrumite fusion or offspring be? And I'm going to say that because of the purity of the Viltrumite blood, that they're 25% Saiyan and they're 75% Viltrumite. They would get all the benefits of ki manipulation because Saiyans are naturals at that, and they'll probably still learn how to do it. So they'll be able to move even faster because of ki manipulation, and along with the smart atoms, so that they can naturally fly because they're Viltrumites, and they also get the added boost of the ki. They'll be stronger than any Viltrumite in existence because ki manipulation, that gives them more of an edge than any other Viltrumite because they'll be able to do range attacks, and any near-death experience they have, they'll get 25% worth of a Zenkai boost, which is insane because Viltrumites can live for thousands of years. And because of that, essentially over time, because they can live so long, it'll be the strongest being in the galaxy. Now, I'm saying this if the Saiyan was in the Invincible universe, not the Saiyan universe, because there's obviously more powerful beings in Dragon Ball Z that they'll just never be able to catch up to. Now, how strong would they be in the Saiyan universe? Well, with their base power level and stats of the Viltrumites and the Saiyans, they'd probably be somewhere around Saiyan Saga, Vegeta, or Goku. They would definitely be a upper class Saiyan territory, so we're talking like probably post-fight Vegeta is where they would be, just naturally. So where does that leave us? Well, if a Saiyan's in the Invincible universe, and it's the offspring of a Viltrumite and a Saiyan, they are going to be the strongest being in that universe in about, well, basically the length of the Invincible comics book. They're going to be naturally stronger than basically everybody except for maybe Thrag and Battle Beast and Alan the Alien at full power. But that's where they will eventually get to, if not even stronger by the end, even without the Ozaru boost. They are literally going to be the strongest being in that universe. But where does that put them in the Saiyan universe? Well, I would say that they are probably naturally as strong as Vegeta at the beginning of the Saiyan saga when he fought Goku, if not post the fight with Goku Vegeta. I would say that's kind of where they would be strength-wise. In the Saiyan saga, if they were to do a Potara fusion, as in a full-blooded Saiyan, full power Viltrumite fused, then it would be straight 50-50, and I'm going with the original Z canon where there would be fused for life. I would say they would probably naturally be around maybe Super Saiyan Goku. That's where I would say, because it'd be the Viltrumite's power times the Saiyan's power, so I would say they'd probably be around Super Saiyan Goku level. So right at the end when he fought Frieza, that's where I would say they would be in terms of just pure strength. And of course, because it's 50-50, he'd still be able to go into Ozaru, so he'd be able to get 10 times stronger. And yeah, that's where I would say they would be. They'd be able to live for thousands of years, and because of the Zenkai, they essentially level up into becoming the most powerful being in the universe just through pure strength. It would basically be like having another Brawly, if like Brawly like trained like more besides his dad. That's kind of where they would, like, he would stack up. Obviously, they wouldn't even be as close to as strong as Brawly because he's ridiculous, but that's my analogy. That's going to be the end of this video. I rambled on a little bit towards the end, and I apologize for that, but thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry about the fireworks and all that, but I'm going to go work out. I hope you guys have a really good 4th of July, and I hope you guys are all doing great. I just got back from a film festival, and if you guys want a special link or something to that, just let me know in the comments. I can send you my film that was just selected to be in the festival. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you.